Welcome back to Will It Rat. Today I am making a rat out of dental floss. Now a lot of you were recommending that I use dental floss because it is long and a string, and everyone told me not to get waxed floss, but I messed up, and I don't know what the difference is between waxed and unwaxed floss. I wasn't really looking for that when I was at the store. And everyone was telling me that using waxed floss would be torture, but I don't know what they mean. I don't know what the difference is. So I guess I'm gonna find out. In my notes, it says that I need to make a hypothesis about the floss. So my hypothesis about using the floss to crochet a rat is that it will work, but that it will be difficult because it is floss. I'm actually really curious to know like what the waxed part will do. Because I don't know anything about floss, I guess. Since I figure that the floss will be a smaller yarn weight than what I usually use, I got out some of my smallest hooks. I got this 2.5 millimeter hook with this yellow handle that I didn't even know I had until today, and this 2 millimeter hook with a green handle, and I'm gonna try both and see which one works, and if neither of them work, like if I need a smaller one, I don't have a smaller one, so I'm gonna have to deal with it. And I'm going to stuff it with just regular polyfill if possible. For the eyes and the nose, I might use regular yarn so that because if I use the floss to make the eyes and the nose, then it's not going to look like it has an eyes, you know what I mean. You know. Let's get started, everybody. Ooh. Smells minty. It's got like this thing going on here. Oh, wait. It looks like I might be able to take it out. I'm gonna break this. Oh, here we go. And now I have a nice little box. So let's start with a slip knot. Uh-oh. Already running into issues. It's okay. Everything's good. Nothing bad has ever happened to me. Okay. So I have to chain 2. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to use my smaller hook, my ever so slightly smaller hook. I'm gonna start round 1. Okay, I've not been crocheting with this long, but I think I understand what people meant by don't get the waxed kind. Oh no. Uh-oh. My hypothesis is changing a little. What is going on? This is supposed to be round 1. I've made 6 single crochets here, so okay. Oh! I'm not even to round 2 and I'm already struggling. I think I made round 2. I think. So, it's starting to look a little more circular. That looks like crochet. This isn't the worst thing I've seen. Okay, we're just gonna put this little blue... Oh, God. Now I'm gonna do round 2, and I don't even know where the next stitch is. I can't really discern my stitches very well. Oh no, there's gonna be like little bits of this blue yarn like entangled in here. But so far, it's actually not going that bad. The more stitches and rounds that I make, the easier it's getting to tell. But there's very large gaps in this rat. So stuffing it might be kind of weird. My fingers smell amazing. They smell edible. So here is... Wait a minute. Okay, here's what I got so far. This is 4 rounds in. And this, honestly, that doesn't look that bad. It's going to take some time because I can't crochet very fast with this because the wax is creating like a tackiness that is creating friction on my hook, which is not ideal. So I'm going to continue on and make the rest of the face, and then I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. This is most of the face finished. As I go on, the stitches become very easy to discern, but the speed at which I can crochet does not get any faster. I still have to go at like a snail's pace, which is very different from how I usually crochet. Normally I'm like this, so it's a little bit frustrating that I have to go so slow and I'm only done with the face. I've been crocheting for like half an hour. I also noticed that the shaping is not too bad, but the snout is going to be short. A little worried that the body is going to be short as well, but all of these Willet Rats are a little quirky. So, yeah, I'm going to continue and I'm going to finish the body and then I'm going to make all the legs and the tail and we're going to see what sewing is like. So, I just finished the entire head and the neck portion of the rat, which means it's time to stuff. And this thing is so tiny. But as I go on and continue, the shaping is starting to look better. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason the snout looks longer than it was, even though I haven't done anything to the snout. Maybe it's just like a perspective thing, like once the entire head is done, the snout just looks longer, but I don't know. But I think this is going to be the smallest rat I've ever made for a video. And right now it kind of looks like a weird sock. Like a really weird, waxy, tacky sock. It's very for your finger. It's for your finger. And it feels awful. And when I'm crocheting, it starts to stick to itself like this, and then I have to open it back up like this, and it's kind of annoying. But overall, the crocheting process of this is not as bad as I thought it was, especially in the beginning. The first impression of it was really, really bad because the first round I think is always the worst round because you're that's your first round experiencing the new material, and it's also the most one sometimes the most difficult round to make. So yeah, the first round is always the roughest, but now that I've got like a good start on it, like you can even like tell the stitches. If you know how to crochet, you can tell what's going on here, right? Like this does not look like a complete mess. But yeah, so now I'm gonna stuff this with regular stuffing, and my fingers smell like mint, but the smell is starting to not smell as fun anymore. It smells kind of, I'm just kind of annoyed by the smell at this point, but it's fine. I'm gonna use this hook to kind of like push it into, because I don't have anything small. Oh, now the hook is grabbing it. I need something small that will like stuff it into the snout. Okay, this kind of working. For sure. This is one of the rats of all time. Oh no, the polyfill is like sticking to the wax, and so now it's like harder to maneuver. It's harder to stuff it properly when it's sticking to the sides, and then it's just okay. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. See, now it's stuffed. Now that's a rat. Well, anyways, I'm going to continue on making the body. And this is just the worst part because it's just rounds and rounds and rounds of doing nothing special. Because, at least with the feet, I get to make something that's kind of hard. But this is just, this is going to be probably over half an hour of me just doing this, and I'm going to be bored the whole time. This feels like crocheting with, like, a baby bell. I finished most of the body, and now all I have to do is stuff it and then close this hole. So I need to grab more stuffing. My fingers they have the wax residue on them. I don't like the feeling of that. It's the type of wax feeling that's like kind of hard to wash off with soap and water. Like you have to like really scrub. So, yay, that's fun. Oh, what is going on? Oh my god, what? What is this? Doesn't that... Here, pull this out. There we go. Ooh. Oh my god. Okay, the stickiness of the floss is interfering with this. I cannot, like, once it's touching the rat, it won't move very easily. And that's a problem because I really need it to move. See, but look, this is like a good shape for this material. That's a good shape. Here's what a regular rat looks like. As you can see, there's a massive size difference, but I mean, the shape is overall like mostly the same, right? Now, I'm worried about how well the legs are gonna go. Not only like crocheting them, but sewing with this. The friction of the wax on wax is probably not going to be the best. So looking forward to that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I seriously see what you guys mean when you said, don't get the wax floss. Anything but the wax floss. And here I am at the store like, la 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 la. That's close enough. Now is the first test of what it's like to sew with this, because I have to sew it shut. It's so tiny. What needle should I use for this? I have 4 of them somehow in here. I used to only have 3, but then this 4th one just showed up. The sewing shut at least is not that bad. There's not a lot of friction going on, which I do like to see. We made the body of this floss rat. Velocirat. I think the tail is going to be the most torturous body part to make. Maybe I should make an ear and see how that goes. Oh, perfect, yeah. That's an ear if I ever saw one. One thing I'm glad about is that the floss is not breaking and it's not showing signs of being weak. And that's good because I was scared that like it would be so thin that I would accidentally break it all the time, and that would be really, really frustrating and evil and bad and gross. Alright, let's just go ahead and sew these bad boys on. It's not bad. It's kind of hard to control because of like how small it is and how big my fingers are compared to it. Ooh, that's not too bad. Right, so that's one ear sewn on. The ear itself looks weird, but the way it got sewn on was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be, so we are winning. Now time to sew on the other ear. This is like micro dosing, micro crocheting. So here are both of the ears sewn on. Do you see the size difference? It's kind of major. I don't know why that happened, but yep. So the ears are sewn on. Now I'm going to make the tail. 1, 2, 3. The owl from the Tootsie Roll commercials before he takes a bite. What is going on? What is going on? I'm going crazy. Ugh! Okay, I'm fine. I'm gonna make a stitch wherever, I guess. This is getting worse. Oh my god, I'm in the middle of round 3 and it's just this. And it's like the stitches are fusing together. Oh my god. I hate this. I'm gonna start over. And look how easy that pulls. Holy moly. That thing disappeared. Before we continue, I would like to take a moment to talk about my small business. On nichecrochet.com, I sell a variety of crocheted plushies, but mostly possums and rats, let's be honest. For example, you can buy this vampire possum. It comes with a removable cape. You could buy this candy corn rat. You could buy this mini Mothman possum. As you can tell, I'm getting ready for Halloween. Or this fluffy rat. You can also customize your experience by giving your plushies little hats and stuff. Look. Oh, this one's for the big one. Hold on. For example, For example, you can put a pumpkin hat on your possum, or a little witch hat on your rat. I also sell the crochet patterns for most of these items as well, so if you know how to crochet and are interested in making any of my crochet patterns, visit nichecrochet.com. Alright, so I was able to make the tail, and it looks like this. And I wasn't able to get a consistent stitch count throughout the tail, so it kind of just, you can see it gets wider and then narrower at random points. But ultimately, I think this will work. And also there's this string hanging off of it. I should cut that off. There we go. I don't know why that's there. But anyways, now it's time to sew this onto the rat. So I'm gonna take my needle and we will see how the sewing process goes with dental floss. I need a smaller needle. Alright, let's see how this goes. Not bad, actually. It's gliding through pretty smoothly. The worst part of this so far is actually trying to see the stitches because they're so small. And in the tail, they're kind of like meshed together. Alright, that was not too bad, actually. That went way better than I expected it to. And now our rat has a little tail. Now it's time for what's probably going to be the worst part, making all of the feet and the legs. If you've seen my previous videos before, you know that I make individual toes on my rat. See, this is a normal crocheted rat, which is for sale, by the way. And you can see that they have little individual toes on their feet. And so I have to do that with this floss. And I'm hoping that it's not as difficult as I'm assuming it will be. Alright, my first stitch. And now I have to make one of the toes. Ooh. You know, and in the past two pieces I made, the first round was the most difficult one to make and discern. And in the feet of the rat, the first round is where I make the toes. Oh my lord. So hopefully hopefully they don't look too bad. So far not so good. There's like these big giant loops hanging off where there shouldn't be. See, look. Oh wait, I don't know. Yeah, see those loops? Those are not supposed to be there. These are not looking like feet so far. Oh no. The toes are just loops. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, and the toes are just turning out to be big loops. I think this is a problem with my hook being a little bit too big for this. And also the floss doesn't have any give to it, so it's stiffer than yarn I usually work with, so it's not like tightening into the toes. But I got the first round done, so here's what that looks like. I'm gonna need my camera to focus. See? Oh, yeah. That looks like a foot for sure. Alright, time to start with round 2. And now, for round 2, I don't even know where to put my hook. I'm gonna figure it out. Okay, actually, this is starting to come together a little more than I thought it would. So you can start to see the toes here. See that? You can start to see the toes now. Now that I made the second round, they're no longer just loops. So that gives me some hope as to what the finished piece is going to look like. I need to make myself a stitch marker, and then I need to complete the rest of the leg. Okay, so first leg complete. Hold on. Look. Focus. There we go. First leg is done. Look at that. That's perfect. You can kind of see like 2 or 3 toes hanging off. But, yeah, so this is what the front leg looks like so far. I'm going to make the rest of the leg. So I'm going to make the other front leg and then both of the back legs. And then I'm going to show you guys what that looks like to sew them on. And honestly, like, the front leg by itself looks kind of bad. But when you look at it like kind of attached to the rat, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like that's not super bad, right? So hopefully when it's all sewn together, it doesn't look too bad. And then after I sew on all those pieces, I'm gonna make the face. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. All right, so these are the two front legs, and they look significantly different from each other, but that's fine. And then these are the two back legs. You can tell, you can see the toes on these ones, but on the front legs, it's a little more, but it's fine. Now it's time to sew the legs on, so we're going to see how that goes. Got a thread, and my hands are sticky again from the wax, so that definitely doesn't help the sewing process, but you know, it's whatever. And I'm just gonna go at it, you know. Usually when I sew together a regular rat, I plan out where I'm gonna place the legs and all that stuff. But I just kind of, you know, I don't, because there's usually a very clear stitch count when I make the legs, and that helps me with the sewing, how many stitches I need to sew where. But here the stitch count is kind of crazy, so I'm just gonna go off vibes, I suppose. I think I sewed it on a little crooked, but it's fine. What do you think? It's fine, right? That looks okay. Alright, time for the second front leg. This one I made off camera, and it's more messed up than the other leg. For some reason, its stitch count looks like it's like 4 or something, and I don't even know how that happened because I was increasing. So now both of the front legs are sewn on, and this is what it looks like. See, this isn't too bad. Why are you falling over? Don't fall over. See, look, that's cute. That looks good. That's not the worst. There's definitely been worse on this channel. Now it's time for the back legs. Alright, so I have finished sewing all of the limbs on, so this is what it looks like, and this is how it stands. This is definitely not the worst rat on this channel. This is a pretty good looking rat here. But now I'm going to add the nose and the eyes, and then this rat will be done. And I am going to make the nose and the eyes out of regular yarn. I'm going to make the nose first. Ooh. This is one of my smaller needles, but it is very big for this rat. Honestly, I probably only need to wrap this around like twice. Easy peasy. I used a little too much yarn. I'm gonna cut it. Gotta sew this in here. Uh-oh. I'm caving in the whole face trying to pull this through. Look at this. Ugh. Gotta fix that. There we go. Oh my gosh, its nose is really big. On accident, oops. There we go. Perfect. Yay! That looks so silly. Alright, eyes time. So probably just one loop will do. I feel like I'm ruining the shape of its face doing this. I just finished sewing on the eyes, so now here is the grand reveal. Oh, it looks silly. Especially the nose. The nose is huge. I don't know how I did that. Because when I was sewing it on, it wasn't huge. But then when I, like, weaved it in, it's like, it became giant. I don't know. You guys, if you want, you can still give me name suggestions, but I think I want to name it Flosserat. But yeah, so this is the floss rat. I guess if you really wanted to, you could make a rat out of waxed dental floss if you were crazy like me. Because it works. I did it. The feet are messed up, but I mean, you can tell that this is supposed to be a rodent of some sort. So I would say that this project was a complete success. And I think now it's time to rate the floss as a yarn. I I think I rate things 3 a lot, but I think I want to give this a 3 because okay, so 1 star is because of the success of the project. I was able to successfully complete this rat. And another star because the stitches are pretty legible when you're making a bigger piece. When you're making a smaller piece, though, like the tail, they start to kind of mesh together because the wax tries to stick to itself. So it becomes way less legible when you try to make something skinny like a tail or these legs. Um, but 1 star for the legibility. And the 3rd star because it did not break or fall apart on me like I assumed it would. I assumed that this would be more brittle when it comes to crocheting with it, because I didn't know that, but it takes kind of a lot to like break this. So I didn't experience any snapping whatsoever while I was making this. And so for those reasons, I do give it 3 stars. But I am deducting some stars, obviously, because it was really, really hard to work with the size. And I know that this was a 2mm crochet hook, and I know that this was too big. I probably should have made this with a 1mm or smaller, but this is the smallest hook I have. I don't have anything smaller, so that's partially my fault. But even still, I think if I had an appropriately sized hook, I think that would have made it like minimally easier to make. It's hard to work with small yarn and thread. It just is. This was hard to work with. Another star is being taken off because, like I mentioned, when you get to smaller pieces, it's harder to make. And these, I winged the legs, honestly. Like, I followed the pattern to the best of my ability, but at some points I was just like, well, I guess the hook can go in this loop, I guess, so that, not the best. But overall, 3 out of 5 stars for Meyer Dental Floss Mint Waxed. Oh yes, this does smell like mint. I don't recommend trying this. If you do want to make your own floss rat, I do recommend buying the unwaxed floss. I have learned my lesson here. The waxed floss is terrible, and my fingers are sticky. But yep, this was today's rat. If you enjoyed this video, my entire channel is basically dedicated to crocheting with non-yarn material. So if you are interested in watching more videos like this, check out my channel and please subscribe. If you are interested in crochet tutorials, I am currently working on getting crochet tutorial videos out on my Patreon right now. Right now, I have the crochet pattern for the mini Mothman possum as a video tutorial up on Patreon, and I'm working on getting exclusive crochet patterns and other content out there right now. So if you're interested in any of that, becoming a member is free, and the lowest tier is $2.50. So if you're interested, please check out my Patreon, and don't forget to check out my website and my social medias and all that. Please just go check that out and consider adding something to your cart. I don't know. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.